Hi, I'm Sam from Needcraft, and today I'm going to show you how to make a lantern from one of our lantern making kits. So these are some of our lanterns here, and they're fantastic from everything from weddings to barbecues to Halloween to Christmas. They can be personalised, they can be made to match your decor. Really, they're suitable for anything. Fantastic for children, even for children making them. They're a super versatile product. All you'll need at home to be able to make one of these is a clean flat surface, a fabric of your choice, and a pair of fabric scissors or a craft knife, depending on what you'd want to make them with. So let me just take you through what's available in the kit. I'll just pop these out of the way first of all. So let me tell you what you'll find in your box, in your kit of 3 lanterns. So first of all, we have the lantern PVC. So this is clear and it allows the light to shine through from an electronic tea light. It's great because it's already been cut to size for you, and it also has a kiss cut into it, which makes making up the lantern really, really easy to do. We also have 3 sets of rings, and these are just simple rings that we're going to use to make the shape of our lantern. You'll also find in there 2 bases, one which will create the base of the lantern and another one which will then sit on top, which we'll then position our electronic tea light in at the end. And then finally, you've got your double-sided tape, which is a high-tack double-sided tape, and I'll just show it to you. It's also really flexible, which we need it to be to make up the product. So super flexible there, high tack, and it's also transparent as well. And then our finishing tool. And this tool is used for finishing off our shade. We're going to tuck the edges of our fabric underneath the edge of the lantern here, as you can see, and that's going to give us a really nice clean finish, and we're going to use this tool to do that. And then you also get a great set of instructions. Now these instructions take you step by step through how to make your lantern up. So let's start making up our lantern. So first of all, you'll just need a piece of fabric that's 35 centimetres wide by 15 centimetres deep. It should be a woven fabric, so something like a cotton or a linen is absolutely perfect for this, but I would avoid stretch fabrics. This fabric that I'm using actually has a direction on it, so we want to make sure that when we're creating our lantern that we have it the right way up. And we just need to simply take our PVC, making sure that our fabric is face down and that our grid lines on the backing paper are also face down. We need to position our PVC onto the fabric. With my fabric, I've actually got a very clear line, so I'm just going to line that up. So you just want to check that that will sit, your cars will sit within the lantern itself, and that means that it needs to sit below the kiss cut. So I'm just going to line that up there. And it's really simple. You just need to simply peel away the backing paper, peel away around about 5 to 10 centimetres, and just position that in place. There we go. And then just rub that down with your fist. You simply put your hand underneath and pull away the release paper, and then continue rubbing down the PVC onto the fabric. Okay. So we can actually pull this all away straight away like that. So just making sure that it's really nicely adhered, and always as a double check, just turn over and just make sure there's no fabrics or cotton that's got trapped under there. That's looking lovely. Really simple, just take your fabric scissors, or if you prefer you can use a craft knife as well, and just cut along the edge of the PVC. Just nice clean cut, just use the edge as a guide. just make sure it's nice and neat. There we go. Great, and just remove that excess fabric. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take away the kiss cut. So that's the excess PVC at the top and the bottom. And all you need to do is just clip back the kiss cut. There we go. And you can just hear that cracking when I just give it a little wiggle. And that's now opening up. And then we just simply lift up the PVC strip and just moving it very gently along so that the fabric doesn't fray too much. Just nice and gentle. And you'll see there are just a few little frays there, and just remove the piece of PVC. And the same again, just roll the PVC over. There we go. You can hear it cracking. And if you just give it a little bit of movement, it should all break open. And then we're just going to lift again and just simply move that away. Nice and gentle. Okay. So again, no measurements needed. You don't even need a ruler to make this up, which is great. Just nice and easy. So before we finish with our PVC, we're just going to take our double-sided tape and just simply stick that along the edge. And then when we get to the bottom, and it should only be on the PVC, it shouldn't be onto the fabric, I'm just going to cut that away with some craft scissors. And we can remove the release tape from this straight away, because that means we're all ready. So that's the first stage done, so you can see how quick and simple and easy that was. So we're now going to move on to our rings. So just take 2 of the rings from your pack, and again your double-sided tape, and we're simply going to apply the tape to the rings. So I'll just get this started to show you. So we simply need to make sure that the ring is in the centre of the tape. So it just follows along so that the 2 edges and the centre of the ring is just in the middle there. So just moving round, just nice and slowly. And if you do move off centre, you can always pull the tape back and realign. And when you get to the ends meeting, with a pair of craft scissors, I just usually cut a little bit in advance of the overlap so they don't overlap, so it's easier to pull the tape away later. So with my fingers and thumb, I'm just going to simply move down the tape around the ring, just nice and smoothly, and just making sure that it's wrapping around as much as possible. And what we're doing here is we're coating the ring with the double-sided tape to make sure that it will stick onto the PVC and also that the fabric will adhere to it well. So there's one done, and then just move on to the second one exactly the same. So keeping the ring central, moving it round. And once you've done one, the second one will become very easy. So there we go, they're meeting already, and just snipping with a craft knife or scissors and just pushing that very gently round. There we go. Making sure it's wrapping around as much as possible. And this is the tape that's going to hold the lantern together for us. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just turning now the lantern PVC so that the tape is away from me, it's at the end. And what we're going to do is we're going to position these rings on to the PVC. So I'm just going to remove the backing tape. So just removing the tape, there we go. So we've now got our 2 sticky rings, and what we need to do is just position them onto the PVC. So it's got to be on the edge of the PVC but not onto the fabric, and we're just putting them in place so they're as near to the edge as possible. And then what we're simply going to do is roll the rings simultaneously on the PVC and just slowly and gently, and once you can see that they're stuck in place, you can then move your hands to the bottom of the rings and that will help you then roll them, and then just keep rolling until you get to nearly where the 2 ends meet. And with this flap we just need to bring it up gently and push the seam very gently onto the opposite side of PVC. We just need to make sure that those match up at the edges, which they do beautifully. Don't put any pressure on here at this point with your hand, because you will dent or can damage the PVC. So the best thing to do is just turn on its side and just push down, and I'll do it from the other side as well so you can see. Just push down firmly. You can also use a seam roller, which is also used for wallpapering if you want to, and that will just really firm down that seam. But if not, just give it a really good firm press with your hands. There we go. So it's now starting to look like a lantern. We just need to turn it on its end. And before we go any further, where our seam has overlapped, we do have a little overlap of fabric. So you can see here that there's 2 pieces of fabric. We just need to simply cut into there, cut in, and just cut away a tiny square. And it is a very small square. But what that means is that we haven't got too much bulk of fabric here at this point. We just need to turn over and repeat the same on the other side. There we go. So you can see I've just cut that away. I've not cut it completely so it's showing, but I've just cut it away from the edge. Okay, so now we need to go on to moving the fabric over the edge of the ring. So we just simply take our fingers and thumb and push that down just so that it's sticking in place. So you're using your fingers really to tuck it in and give it a really nice neat edge. And then we'll repeat the same on the opposite side. So the fabric should adhere really nicely to the tape that we've put onto the rings. And then we're going to tuck in. So using the tool that I showed you at the start, which has the serrated edge along the top and the 2 smooth edges and the point, we're now going to tuck the fabric underneath the frame. Now it might sound tricky, but you just need to use the edge of the tool to get underneath, and often with this lantern it's quite useful to use the corner as well. And we're just simply pushing the loose edge of the fabric underneath. Just move the fabric underneath the lantern, underneath this ring here. There we go, and you can hear that cracking sound. I don't know if it's audible or not, but it just basically means that the PVC and the tape are separating and they're allowing the fabric to go underneath. So once you've tucked under the main parts of the fabric, you can then use the pointed edge just to make sure that any loose frays or any loose sections are nice and clean and they've been tucked underneath. Once we've done one edge, and you can see now that that's complete, we can turn it over and do the opposite side. And you can use the flat on this as well, And then just using the point to take under any loose frays. Now there's a little bit of a fray there that I'm just going to cut away because it was joined on both sides. Yeah, that's all looking lovely and clean. So we're very, very nearly there, so you can see how quick and simple this is. So we're just going to take a base panel from our kit and we just simply bend this so it will go through the top, and make sure you've got the fabric the right way up if you do have a direction as I have. I'm just going to sit that into the bottom, and that fits really snugly in the base there. And then take our circular section, exactly the same, just bend it slightly to take it through the top, and then push down on top. And then you'll just need a electronic tea light. Pop that on, pop it in the shade, and there we have a fantastic lantern. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this demonstration, and I hope that's inspired you to get creative with some of our other kits or our lantern kits. 3 in a pack, and remember they can be used for any occasion, so really worthwhile getting creative with.